We're here at the Grand Cypress Golf Club in Orlando, Florida, and I am delighted to be joined by three-time major champion Padraig Harrington, six-time Ryder Cup player. You're a terrific driver of the golf ball, and I know in this driver special you want to debunk some swing myths. So let's get right to it.
Yeah, look, this is what I see when I play every week in the Pro-Am, my amateurs, what I see going wrong. One, don't try and stay still. This is the worst thing you can try and do. Somebody who tries to stay still in the golf swing will actually probably go forwards as they go back, and when they try and hit it, they'll be going backwards. Don't try and keep your head down. If your head goes down, it's going to get in the way. Terrible idea. Let your head float in the golf swing. You wouldn't try and keep your head still if you were swinging a baseball bat. You wouldn't keep your head still if you were throwing a punch. Why would you keep your head still playing golf? Okay, next thing is, professional golfers actually swing the club back 3 times faster than amateurs. So the rhythm of the backswing really helps the club set. You don't go real slow. This isn't going to help you. So a nice rhythm in the backswing, allow your head float, don't try and stay still, don't keep your head down. And lastly, don't lift in the backswing. People always want to make a bigger backswing. They think that's going to equate to more power. That's okay if you're supple. But if you get to a point in your backswing where you've got a tight coil, don't lift past that. The minute you lift your arms and your body stretches like this, you're going to lose all your power and your accuracy. So you've got to stay within yourself. And what you will see, especially with pros, when they're taking practice swings in a static environment without the ball, they only ever swing about that long. They don't make a big swing in the backswing because we don't want any of this lifting. Okay, so nice and tight in the backswing, good bit of rhythm. And I would recommend to people at home in their garage during the winter. You know, years ago, if you were watching Hogan, they had lovely waggling going on, their feet were dancing, they were moving, and they hit that backswing with speed, and that got the club lovely to hinge up here on plane. They got a lovely wrist cock because of the speed of the backswing. So get that nice rhythm going, allow yourself to move. Essentially, as you turn, your turn shifts your weight, and as you can see, it shifts my head a little bit to this side. I don't need to move my hips over here, I just need to turn my body. And once my body turns, you can see that is actually going to turn into a full golf swing when the golf ball is there. See how it gets to parallel?
When you're doing that, Padraig, I mean, certainly I love the idea of the movement, no question. Are you still mindful of keeping the eyes somewhat on the back of the ball, though?
Absolutely. Like all sports, it's a good idea to look at the golf ball, but it doesn't mean you need to keep your head still. I can still see the golf ball as I move my head. It floats, but it's the same as I said, if you were hitting a tennis ball, you wouldn't try and keep your head still. If you were hitting a hockey puck, you'd still see the ball, but you wouldn't keep your head still. We don't want that fixture there. It will actually hurt your neck, it will hurt your back if you try and keep it still. Some people who suffer from a bad back playing golf, it's because they try and stay still and they tilt forward and get jammed up here in the downswing. We always want to have that big follow through. But, you know, if you're getting a bit older, that's going to put a lot of strain on you. So do as Gary Player does. And Gary Player, without a doubt in this world, pound for pound, if you take into account his age, is the best ball striker that's ever been in the game. Gary Player's favourite drill when he's on the range, if he hits it, and he steps over that left leg, that's to take the pressure off his follow through. We want that big follow through. So I'm going to copy Gary Player here. Okay, you'll see a nice bit of movement in the backswing. And I step after it. That takes the pressure off my back.
Sure, let's see that one more time. I love that. And then I have got one question. I know that someone who influenced you greatly with your game was the late, great Bob Torrance. And you told me earlier that he talked about squashing the bug on the downswing. Perhaps not something you think of now, but you certainly did, didn't you?
Oh, no doubt about it. We're looking old school here. And in fairness, there's kind of 3 things that happen in the golf swing and the downswing. So we've made that nice brisk backswing. We cocked our wrists, we're up there. We want to get into our left side. So as you say, you're squashing. Are we allowed to say that these days? We're squeezing a ball under our left foot. We're not killing any little ball.
Okay.
So we're squeezing a ball. We're pressing down our left heel into our left side. That's your start of the downswing. Sitting in there, pressing down. And this is why I said Nicklaus was so good. He had that high foot and he jammed it back down into the ground. From there, your body, your hips and your body rotate. But this is one of the modern differences in golf that I think has changed maybe from Hogan's time. So as everything is turning, we don't want rotation in our arms. We actually want our arms going as hard as they can down. So our shoulders and our arms go down while our body's rotating. So the speed comes, and this is why you see the likes of Bubba Watson, the likes of DJ Johnson, why they're so long, is they're up here. And that means their arms come down very quickly. They've got JB Holmes, he gets his arms up and they come flying down. That's not rotation. Yes, the body's rotating, but the arms are down as hard as you can. I think years ago, rotation, too much rotation wouldn't be a good thing. We've got to keep the arm speed up. Okay.
That was absolutely wonderful. Another smasher down the fairway. Loved it. We're back with Padraig Harrington. You promised us you were going to let us know how the swing should feel. Carry on.
The first thing the golf swing should feel like, exactly how you felt as a kid when you played tennis, hockey, baseball. It's the same thing. We're swinging a stick at a ball. There's no difference. So the movement that you use to play hockey and tennis and all those sports, we're going to use that to play golf. And I did say movement. Here are some of the keys you don't want to do in golf. You don't want to keep your head down. You don't want to keep your head still. You don't want to make a slow backswing. You don't want to make a big backswing. All those things are going to cause you problems. Okay? So what should the swing feel like? Essentially, if you really, really want to get the feel, go out to your garden or somewhere you can, set up in your golf position, put a golf ball in your right hand, hold your right wrist, assuming you're right-handed. We want to throw the golf ball as hard as we can into the ground, about a yard ahead of us, and for it to go as far as we can straight. So, like so. I pulled that a little bit. Now, every bit of that motion there is a golf swing. So, watch what happens. I made the right amount of hip turn. I made the right amount of arm swing. I didn't lift my arms. I didn't lift my body. Okay, I made the right amount of wrist break. All naturally. I'm not thinking about this. I pivoted to my left. I stayed down with my chest and I released it. All because I was throwing a ball. We all know how to throw a ball.
Let's see you hit one with that sort of feeling of a throwing action.
But again, it's what we all know how naturally to do this. Again, holding,
you watch it till you see the ball land.
I'm exaggerating it here, no doubt about it. I'm holding for as long as I can, but I'm able to do that. I would like amateurs to exaggerate in the range and on the golf course hold it for 2 seconds. I said we don't want to swing back slowly. We certainly don't want to keep our head still. The head floats. So essentially the weight, as you turn your shoulder, it shifts your weight to your right side. So we don't need to shift like this. Our body turns and it moves the center of gravity over here. But see, my head has moved. If I try and keep my head still, I'm actually going to go forwards, which is the worst thing you can do in golf. If you keep your head still, you're going to go forwards and you're going to have that step backwards and no finish. That's why I said holding the finish, it gets you doing all the right things without you knowing you're doing them. I think the modern professional has done a lot of harm to amateurs. Modern professionals are very supple, they're young, they're powerful. So when they make a swing, they can keep this left heel in the ground. They can keep a lot of tension inside their legs like this. They can turn, they get onto the right side. And to the public, that looks like they're staying still. Would you think of keeping your head still when you're hitting a baseball? Could you imagine telling a kid, okay, right, we're ready to hit it, but you're not allowed to move your head?
I don't think so. I don't think it would be good.
Yeah, like we want to keep our eye on the golf ball, no doubt about it, but our head moves a little bit and floats. So a couple of drills. Yes, lift your left heel off the ground. A drill I would always get kids practicing is actually lift their foot off the ground. So you can either start in this position, like so. That creates great movement. If you start, take your golf stance, bring your foot back. Again, I'll actually hit the golf ball a little further doing that.
That's absolutely great stuff.
Yeah, basically what would I say to a beginner, maybe what I would say to a junior starting off the game. And to help them remember, I always say, you got to get a grip on the word, at least the first 3 letters of the word school. So what do I mean by that? Well, the first letter S stands for swish. So essentially, the louder that swish, potentially the further the golf ball will go. So everybody who's starting off the game should spend as much time not hitting a golf ball, but getting the club to swish. The second letter C stands for chest. When you're hitting the golf ball, you keep your chest down. We never ever want to see somebody coming in to hit the golf ball and their chest pops up before they hit it. So you keep your chest down, not your head down. Another bad mistake is if you try and keep your head down, it actually tucks and gets in the way, which causes that pop-up. So when an amateur or beginner is starting off, I'm always thinking, keep your chest down, probably to about 6-8 inches past the ball before you let it come up out of it. So swish the club, keep your chest down, that gives the strike. And the last thing, the H, is the only universal thing I could say to every golfer, and it will do them no harm, because there's everything you work on in this game you can overdo, but the last thing, the H, you can't overdo. Hold your finish. H stands for hold your finish. The better your finish, the better your consistency is going to be. So to get to this position, you have to do so many things right. So probably the most important thing in the golf swing is to be able to finish balanced. Now, if you're an old codger, look, that's fine. Balancing here. You don't need to finish like, oh God, I'm old. You don't need to finish all the way around. You just need to be able to finish in a balanced position, posted up on the left-hand side. Now, unfortunately, I said you've got to get a grip on the first 3 letters of school. So swish, chest down, hold your finish, but you must get a grip on it. And in golf, your left-handed can vary. You'll see a lot of different pros with strong or weak grips. But all pros, is the one consistent factor you will see in the tour. They put their right hand on top of the club, like so. Like you're shaking hands with the club. Now there's a reason for that. As you come into impact, your right arm is stretching, and there's a lot of force on it to keep the club face square, because it's further away from you than your left hand. If this is here, which you see a lot of amateurs do, they'll put their hand on here. This will help you hit the first, second and third shot well, but for the rest of your life, it's going to cause a world of pain, because it's going to want to flip, and then you're going to have to protect it. But if you put it on top, like so, like you're shaking hands, yes, the first couple of shots aren't going to be as good, but eventually you're going to have to square that club up with your upper body. The right hand grip must stay on there, and it is the biggest common denominator between good golfers, professional golfers. Put your right hand on top. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Whereas this, every bit of instruction you'll ever see written in magazines, in books, every bit of TV coverage you see is all for the orthodox grip. If you've got a grip over here like this, you need your own personal PGA Pro, because you can't work with this. It may help the first shot go left, but after that, it's going to be terrible problems.
Well, you do know when you go to school at the end of term you have an examination, whether it's Ireland, England or America. So let's have a swing examination.
I actually like that idea, because for a beginner, they all want to play well the very first day of class. And they will make terrible sacrifices in the first day in order to get the golf ball going somewhat in the air and somewhat straight. Whereas if they thought of it like this is 3 months to the end of term, and they spent those 3 months starting off gaining speed, keeping the chest in it, and then eventually holding the finish, they might hit a few bad shots to start off with, because everybody does. But at the end of 3 months, they'll be far further down the road with a lot more consistency in their game than if they made those poor choices at the start.
Well,
okay.
Let's see some SCH from a 3-time major champion.
Okay. So nice swish going on.
That's fabulous to get us going. We're back with a superb bunker shot by the Irishman. Now, you teased that this is perhaps the strongest suit in your game. So let's let everybody know how you do it.
Yeah, statistically I'd be best on, this would be the one that I do the best in on tour. I'm generally top 5 proximity. So, first of all, for the amateur, the basic thing, like the chipping, they've got to get all the weight planted on the left side. We do not want any movement back into this side. We want none of this back here. You're going to hit a foot behind the ball, and that you're never going to be able to shift it out. And that's why you often see with amateurs, they make a big hard swing in the bunkers, because if you're on your right hand side, you have to make that hard swing to get the ball out. But if you're on your left hand side, planted up here on the left side, you can sit nicely on it, and it's a nice smooth swing, but you've got to stay left, like so. Always got to stay on that left hand side, planted in there. Again, you'll even see I don't put my right heel on the ground in the backswing at all. So you set up, I actually take my heel off the ground to make sure I'm sitting up there. Trust it. A little bit heavy that time, but pretty nice.
There's a lot of talk, and not everybody understands it, about using the bounce. What would that mean to you, Paddy?
You know, if you get your body in the right place, the bounce will respond. They are talking about the back end of the club here. And essentially when it opens up, it hits in the ground and it stops the club from digging. It makes the sand jump up and the club come back up. I think it will work as long as you're on your left-hand side.
Okay.
Okay, once you're in this side, again, a couple of issues with it. Clearly, once you're on that side, you're going to start getting a better contact. So again, if you really want to work that bounce, once you're sitting over here on the left-hand side, just let go with your right hand through impact, and the left will be moving underneath and working the bounce.
In the last couple of years, you found a newer way, a better way perhaps?
I wouldn't say better, but it changes, it eliminates some of the bad shots that I hit. So essentially, for an amateur golfer, all he needs to concentrate is getting on his left side. Yes, work that club underneath, great, if you get to a certain level. But for the better player, you're really talking sort of 5 handicap down. When they have a problem in the bunker, they open up. Every degree you open your face, you open your stance. That's what we were told as kids. They take it back on the outside, and then they drop it on the inside, and they lead with this heel. That gets shanks and low ones coming out to the right. So the one thing you don't want to get in a bunker shot is any drop back. So I actually set up the opposite now. I set up closed, take it back on my body plane. I'm not taking it inside, I'm taking it on my body plane. It is into it. But I actually then, because I'm inside here, I actually then work to come over the top, which is the opposite. So most people are trying to swing on playing across the ball. I'm actually shutting myself down, and in practice I'll aim right at the flag and I'll make myself pull the ball. So I'm actually coming over the top, eliminating any want to get underneath here and get that squirrely one running out to the right.
That's absolutely fascinating.
As I said, I don't see anybody else doing it, but for me it's worked very nicely. I get on the course I'll be very square, but in practice I'll even be a little short, and I'll force myself to come over the top and pull it. So when you pull it, you get lots of spin on it as well.
That was a superb sound as you hit that one. Back on the putting green is Paddy's putting special. Obviously we've moved a little further away from the hole, and just for television we've left the flagstick in the hole. We know you couldn't do that. That's just to make it easier for the players at home to see. Reading greens, it's really important, isn't it?
Good putting starts with good green reading. I have to say, when I see somebody who's a chronically bad putter, you know, to the extent that they close to having the yips, it's all started from them underborrowing. So if you underborrow, it requires a huge amount of manipulation to get it online. If you overborrow, and bear in mind that amateurs tend to underread the greens by a factor of 3 compared to pros, if you overborrow, you're going to hit a good putt, a good stroke. Yes, you may miss a few putts high, but it's certainly better for your confidence and better for your stroke. So if anything, always give it a little bit more break. But how do we actually get the exact read? First and foremost, easiest thing when it comes to reading the greens, it's the colour. So as I stand here, I'm looking at this putt. The first sort of 15 feet, it's dark green. Anything that's lush and dark green is going to be slow and uphill. At the top of the hill there, it kind of mixes the colour. So we're going to suggest that's kind of flat where it's mixing. And then we see this pale colour for the last 20 feet. Again, in life, anything that's shiny is fast. It's slippery. So I know I'm going uphill, levels out, and then downhill. Now, if I walk around, those colours will change. And I'll know if I turn to the right here and I look back up, if I see it's dark, that means it's uphill, so it'd be left to right coming across here. So your colours, use your colours.
So once you've identified the colours, the dark and the light, what comes next?
Golf ball's on the ground. I walk up. I'm seeing the colours naturally myself. I don't even have to work at it. I mark it. To save time, as I mark it, I just walk up straight behind it, put the putter down. Careful not to hit the coin because you can't touch the coin. Okay, that feels about 20 inches left. When it's my turn to play, I'll put the ball down. I don't really need to look from the other side. Walk back. I'm trying to see my 20 inches. I might add a little, I might take a little away, but general, I'm going to stick to more or less what I felt. Come back, I have a couple of practice strokes, obviously. Again, the key here is my practice strokes are very realistic. I'm not taking this. I'm hitting a 35-foot putt here. I'm not going like this to hit it. I'm actually taking, that will get me to the hole. Little bit slow up the hill. Yeah, that feels good. That feels good. When I put the putter down, this is the key to holding putts. I'm never standing over this ball saying, I've got to be up. And I'm never standing over this ball saying, if it was a downhiller, oh, don't hit it by. I've already dialed that in here. That's all covered in my, and I don't wish and wash through. I actually take real practice strokes. That's covered. No more conscious thought. Look at my target.
Well, you'd be very happy with that for the most part, wouldn't you? I'd be very comfortable with
that, stone dead. But there is one thing, and it's for short putts. So every time you hit, and it's particularly evident down here in Florida, but you'll see it nearly on all golf courses, you gain experience. So now I've put it up here, say I've got a 3-footer. All 3-footers are not straight, okay? Unfortunately, that's what amateurs tend to think. I can hit it firm and straight, but ultimately, if there's a break, there's a break. Now, what you'll see on a cup is every cup, especially in Florida, a little bit when you get up north, more sunshine, the low side of the cup starts to fray by the end of the day. It actually frays pretty early on. And as you can see here, if you can see, it's all starting to break down here. It will turn brown, it will be burnt out by the end of the day. I know that's where the biggest bit of wear and tear is, so that's the lowest point. So everything is breaking to that point there, right down there. So essentially, without me bending down here, if that's the low point, I know I've got to aim a little bit to the left. So instead of trying to blast it in straight, I'm going to hit it left half. And again, if I aim straight, yes, I could knock it in from there, but sometimes it requires a bit of manipulation. And that's where all this sort of heebie-jeebies come from.
That is going to help a lot of people read greens, a subject they find very difficult.